So we're kind of in a funny situation where it feels like Call of Duty thinks that its player base is stupid, and to a certain extent, maybe they are. They continue to play the game. A lot of people do. They continue to buy the bundles. Even with all the issues, people still do that. People will be lagging all over the place, and then they'll go, where's ranked? I want to play ranked so I can disconnect and lose SR. I don't get it. Like I said before in previous videos, I'm glad I play multiple games. I started Death Stranding because Death Stranding 2 comes out at the end of the month, and I want to be kind of caught up on that. But that's an aside. This in regards to is, this is now the third time that COD has put out a tweet with their Call of Duty update account where it feels like they're gaslighting the player base. And whether it's true or not, the perception is that they're gaslighting their player base, and perception becomes reality. This is kind of how a lot of things work. If something is perceived as valuable, it's valuable. Even if it is or isn't, that they're going to be able to charge a lot. And that's not just in gaming or Call of Duty. If something is perceived as low value, there it goes. And it's just kind of one of those things. So the specific tweet that I'm talking about is that they say a UI feature test that surfaced select store content in the loadout menus was published in Season 4 update in error. This feature has now been removed from the live game. You guys didn't get a chance to catch this one. I don't have any footage of it, I don't think. But basically what would happen is you would load in, when you go to adjust your loadouts, you know, normally when you select to create a class and then you select over the weapon, and then you can select through the various blueprints or make a new class for that weapon, and then you could start from scratch with no attachments. Well, before, like in between the create new class and the actual blueprints you have, whether you have a 5 attachment meta build, 8 attachment, your zombie build, your multiplayer build, whatever, before you can go through there, it would have the bundle. And obviously there's specific ones to certain weapons that are out, whether it's the Jay and Silent Bob bundle. And it's just like, okay, why even say it like that? Like, oh, it's a you. That sounds like they're trying to be honest, but the reality is do we really trust that? Because maybe they were planning to bring that out in Season 5 and it went early. So what? It's like, oops, our bad. That's still going to come back later. But it felt more like, oh, we put it in there. There was a little bit of backlash surrounding that. So let's go ahead and pull it, and we'll just say it was an accident. It was a bug. And if they didn't have a pattern of this type of behavior, I could believe it. I could say, you know what? Hey, accidents do happen. You know, fool me once, shame on, you. Fool me twice, there's going to be some problems, right? So this is where we get into a pattern of this behavior. And not only did that happen, there was another instance where it says, we're investigating a bug where player levels and level icons may not appear for match-made players in the lobby list. So the example of this one was primarily in multiplayer. What you'll do is queue up. And sometimes if you're playing solo, you can see that, oh, dang, there's a few Master Prestiges in the lobby. I'll go ahead and back out of this one. I don't really feel like sweating that hard. So I'll back out and I'll queue up again. Oh, okay, low levels. Oh, this could be a little bit like good because it's a little bit feeling more casual. Be an easier lobby. Maybe I can use an off-meta gun to kind of level it up to camos. Well, this feature was hidden and it wasn't looking like the normal bug, whereas if we talked about a level 1 bug, most people can acknowledge that there's been a level 1 bug in Warzone for months, where if you kill someone, it'll just say level 1. Even if they're Prestige Master, level 1000, Prestige 3, with level 44 or whatever, still say level 1. Known bug, you keep your game open for like 2 or 3 hours without a restart, it'll say level 1. You restart it, boom, it's back to saying the appropriate level. This wasn't that. Not everyone in the lobby was level 1. That would have been, even though it would have been another thing, it would have been at least understandable because we've seen the bug happen in other parts. And as we know with the janky spaghetti code or whatever the game is built on, if a bug's in one area, it'll be in another area, and then it makes perfect sense. This particular case, different UI icon. It's like a grayed out person silhouette. And it's like, okay, you're trying to pull another fast one. I can't believe you. again, if this was in isolation and it was rank 1, that'd be more believable, but that's not what's happening. And we've had this happen again in December. There was an issue where in the kill cam, it would give you the headshot hit markers visually, but on the actual player, the damage, it didn't actually do that. And they tweeted out back then, it says, we've identified an issue that could result in erroneous visual blood effects. So this is pretty noticeable in snipers, where you would shoot somebody, get the blood mist, but no hit marker. And you're like, what? How does that work? And it says, when damage was not actually dealt while shooting at enemies in all modes. So this was appearing in other modes. And everyone just laughed at them. Like, there's no way. And there's people that did some testing with some lag comp type stuff, and they were able to replicate these things on one screen but not the other. And it's just basically their servers and the net code or whatever is going on with that. More complicated than that, but they put out a statement essentially saying, oh, you know what, you guys are all wrong. That's the way it felt as a community. So I don't know what the heck's going on, but this is kind of a silly spot to be in. And they have this account for Call of Duty that does the Call of Duty updates, and they try to do their job to try to update certain things. Obviously, we had some patch notes 6 hours ago that basically talked about the UI thing, but this is a problem. It's with the game. So I wanted to point out something very specific is when we go to this, and if you just look at the dates, so if you look at all these, we could just go back, okay, from right here. So the 29th, boom, issue, 29th, obviously the update, 29th, these are multiple issues. The 29th, retweeting the 29th, hey, we fixed the problem, boom, 29th, 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 how many things went wrong on the 29th? It's beyond broken. Same thing with the 30th, 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 and 30th, and 30th, and 31st. We finally made it to today, guys. Let's go. Either way, the game's in shambles when it comes to these types of things. Of course, if you're on the lucky side where you just don't experience any issues, you don't notice anything, more power to you. Hopefully you enjoy that experience and you cherish it, because there's so many people that are having these issues, and it's not like we're making them up. They're like literally tweeting 7 times on one day saying there's these problems that we're aware of, we're trying to fix, or we fixed. And I think it's unfortunate. They continue to lose respect of the player base just because they'll put something out saying like, oh, you know, that bug we're aware of, I don't know, gaslighting, or they just think the player base is dumb, or maybe it's legitimately they're just that prone to making bugs and accidents happen early. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.